Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Brainstorm Brewery.
Welcome back to Brainstorm Brewery.
Welcome back to Brainstorm Brewery.
Okay, before we go any further...
In other news, we're looking for a fourth for our acapella group.
Our barbershop quartet, you mean?
Yes, that's the word I was using.
I thought so.
Yes.
Speaking of things that are awesome, I like Buffalo Wild Wings, and I don't know if anyone knows this or not. If you watched our Escape to the Wilds preview video, which 2,500 people did on YouTube, thank you for that. You'll know that I like Buffalo Wild Wings, and if you watch through the end of the video, not just skip to the preview card itself and then pause and close the video like 2,400 of you did or whatever.
We got almost a third as many upvotes as the person who posted our preview card after us.
Okay, it's fine. The point is, you'll see that those wings were ruined. They got thrown on the ground. I hid them for the video. I was going to eat them later, and instead I got ants all over them, and I couldn't eat them. Within like
even
30
the
seconds.
Ants didn't eat the wings. They were just swarming.
They were trying to protect you from...
Well,
Don't eat these.
The worst part of it was that I had to... That happened on the very first take. The ants just immediately got in there. And then I had to keep recording, which included filming the scenes where I picked up a wing and acted like I was going to eat it. So every time I'd reach my hand down in there and pull out a wing and pull it up to close to my mouth, that shit had ants on it. So that's the dedication I have. So now we've established how much I love Buffalo Wild Wings. Here's what we want to say. We're getting closer to the end of the year. We know at the end of the year, we're going to blow out the Patreon for perks for everybody. But I decided...
decided?
Yeah, well, this came from the video because at the beginning of the video, Jason and DJ are telling me how Buffalo Wild Wings is going to kill me. And, hey,
I gave you this idea in Vegas, and somebody else did too.
Yeah, sure, man. Look, the point is, we all got to die of something. And if I go out on wings, I go out on wings. But in the sense of this, because I love this podcast so much and I want to be here for this podcast for as long as possible, I'm going to make a deal. I'm going to make a deal with everyone listening. We have 463 patrons right now. That's awesome. Thank you. You're all great. We want to get to 500 so that we can get a professionally made Merfolk cosplay costume made for me, which I will then play Grand Prix Oklahoma City wearing, which is in December. And then in the middle of December, when even in Oklahoma it's cold, I will then jump into a pool or lake or river or
A
other
body
of water that is not a bathtub.
Preferably non-electrified. That is a concern in Oklahoma
City.
City.
Wow, that's true. Then I will then do that in that costume. So we have to get to 500 to do that. So I'm willing to sweeten the pot here. Here's what I'm willing to offer. For every new patron who signs up between now and I guess let's say November 1st, because it's a month from today from when we're recording, and that's probably when we need to start getting the costume made if we get there. Every new patron who signs up, or any patron who ups their level, whether that's going from 1 to 5 or 5 to 10, whatever. So you get all the sweet perks, and you're already putting yourself where you want to be because we're going to blow out the patron at the end of the year anyways, where everyone gets sweet stuff for being just a part of it.
Yeah, for those who don't know what he means by his vague blow it up term, at the end of 2018, for anybody who locked in their Patreon level by the end of December 31st of that year, we had special exclusive rewards that are no longer available to anybody else for that year. So including, $5 levels got a sweet alternate frame treasure token, $10 levels got a small vial of Corbin's chair sent out approximately 6 months after it was supposed to get sent out. And then $20 and up patrons who signed in before the end of 2018 got these awesome drinking flasks with their names on.
Personalized flasks. It was pretty cool. So here's the thing. If you sign up, if you just give us $1 a month and we can get to 500, any person who signs up or ups their tier, I will go 2 days without eating Buffalo Wild Wings. So that means...
Well, I thought it was going to be 1 day per person.
No,
yeah,
man,
it's a 1-to-1 ratio.
I'm willing to up it here. We need 37 people to get to 500. That's 74 days, 2.5 months of no Buffalo Wild Wings for me if we get there. And if we see that if you upgrade up your tier level from 1 to 5 or whatever, then we'll also include that. So this is going to be hard for me. And I'm gonna have to have like a big last meal of, just have a sweet Buffalo Wild Wings before it all goes into effect. But that's how much I care about this podcast. So
he's willing to set aside his own long-term suicide plan for the sake of everybody else. How generous.
Speaking of long-term suicide, I'm participating in Sober October. Drinking a delicious cherry 7-Up here out of these handsome drinking glasses available to the people that decide to up to $20 at patreon.com/Brainstorm Brewery for as little as $4 or $5 an episode, $20 a month. You can contribute to Corbin not dying from clogged arteries and me not dying from liver failure. These sweet drinking glasses hold all kinds of beverages, not just alcoholic ones.
Oh god, what's my vice if we do this? No arguing with people on Twitter.
Yeah. For every person who gets in, DJ has to restrain himself one tweet at a time.
Yeah.
Before you know it, DJ can't tweet at anybody.
No posting videos of you jumping over a milk crate or whatever at parkour practice. I jumped over 3 phone books, guys.
DJ and I were making plans for GP Oklahoma City also. Not wearing the Merfolk costume, but we're going to do rock climbing and depending, but possibly parkour.
You should do Merfolk parkour.
We'll have like an Ariel Merfolk tale where he's just like doesn't get to use his legs.
You will be the parkoural helm commander.
There you go. I was trying to come up with something there, Jason.
Yeah.
That was good. That was good work.
Parkoural helm. Yeah. That's what I'm good for.
Yeah, I'm not good at that stuff, but I've done that one time with Magic in my life I'm proud of. Everyone
I'll
has to
teach you a Mutavault.
God, okay. No, everyone has to have a bad fantasy football team name, and I came up with a Johnny Manziel all on my own. Everybody, that's the one time I was creative using words.
I think my favorite fantasy hockey team name I ever came up with, Don't Taves Me, Bro.
Yeah, that's a good one. Everyone uses the same ones. Like look, I love a good fantasy football name. I just want to be original with mine. Like, not throwing shade at anybody who might be in my league and might be my boss, but I'm just saying, if you name your team Hot Chub Time Machine, you and 45 million other people have done that. That's all. Just maybe be original, Mashi. That's all.
How about the Detroit Lions are a garbage team, and all of my friends from Michigan have Stockholm syndrome, and
they're good this year.
Are they good this year?
Yeah.
Are they? What's their record?
I don't remember if they won because we left before the end of the game. I think that they did. I think they're 3-0-1.
Wow. Are they gonna make the playoffs? Probably not.
I don't know. But they lost the game, so they're 2-1-1. It's a close game though. All right.
I mean, for the Lions, that's very good. They went 0-16 very recently.
Yeah, I mean, not
that concludes sports talk from a guy who doesn't give a shit about football.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk Magic.
This is where JJ does like a big fade out of like an ESPN logo and like.
I know about as much about football as everybody who works at ESPN knows about hockey, so I feel qualified.
Ooh. Wow, what about my boy Barry Melrose?
He's got the best flow in
Don Cherry
commentary, that's for sure. Don Cherry's not at ESPN.
I know.
I do like his suits, though. He looks like the inside of a pimp's car.
I don't know what the inside of a pimp's car looks like, but I guess
it looks like one of Don Cherry's suits.
All right, fair enough. Let's move on. Let's talk Eldraine pre-release.
We're not going to break bulk?
We'll break some bulk after this.
Are you driving the bus, or is Corbin driving the bus? DJ?
I played Magic. No one's driving the bus. That's the secret.
It's like the movie Speed, where the bus driver got shot, and then Keanu Reeves is trying to steer the bus.
I'm Keanu Reeves?
Sandra Bullock? No, you're Sandra
Bullock.
I'm
Keanu Reeves.
I'm Keanu Reeves. You're Sandra Bullock. Pay attention.
Oh, dang it.
Anyway, the bus driver got shot, and that's me. I got shot. Also, I'm Keanu Reeves. And I'm the bus driver.
I wanted to be Keanu Reeves.
DJ is Alan Ruck, who only has like one line in the movie.
DJ's a bad guy.
Why would you pay Alan Ruck money to have?
I don't even know who that is, dude.
Wait, who was the bad guy? Why did I strap a bomb to the bus?
Yeah.
Why is the bomb on the bus?
Because he was disgruntled because he was on the bomb squad and he was not satisfied with his pension, I think, and so he was doing a hostage thing for like $1 million.
You're doing all that for $1
$1
million?
million.
It wasn't
this was the
even
90s, man.
This was the 90s. That was back when
Jason wouldn't even need a thumb drive for $1 million, and this guy's just strapping explosives to vehicles.
Not just the bus. He did his own house, and he did another bomb.
You're talking about Speed 2 and Speed 3?
Is the same bad guy doing the same?
No. Speed, there were multiple bombs in the movie Speed. He blew up his own house and killed like the bomb squad.
Oh, because he didn't. I see. I don't remember this
there was a
movie,
bomb to let everyone know he meant business. That was the first bomb. And then there's like he blew up his own house, and then there was a third bomb on the bus. And then he had like a bomb vest, so that was like 4 bombs. That's like a lot of bombs.
There's a lot of bombs.
I don't know how much bomb components cost, and I don't want to look it up because I don't want to end up on a watch list, but I'm pretty sure like you should ask for more money.
Dude, that 4 bombs,
Absolutely.
That's like a Thursday night in college for me, man.
If he's only doing this for $1 million, that seems very short-sighted.
Well, he wanted it to fit in 2 plastic bags. He wanted to fit in clear plastic bags so like that you couldn't put a die pack.
If he was good at planning, he wouldn't have challenged Keanu Reeves, man. Come on. That's all I'm saying. Just like
when did
anybody.
This movie come out? Was PayPal or Venmo an option? Like, come on.
Just like anybody challenging me at the pre-release where I went 3-0.
Whoa, Corbin.
Woo.
Tell us more.
Ooh, I will tell you more about how.
Did you just slap your game day playmat on the table and stare them down like you meant business?
No, man, I got a BSB playmat. Grand Prix of
Have
Oklahoma
you listened
City,
to an episode of Brainstorm Brewery? You can't even say you're a real fan.
I listened to last week's episode.
Is that 2 in a row?
No, but it is 2 out of like 3. Which is not bad.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Meatloaf. Fight Club. Let's talk about Fight Club. There were more than 3 bombs in Fight Club.
There were quite a few bombs in Fight Club.
It was a bomb at the box office.
I still haven't seen that movie.
Oh, get out of here. I think like we can't.
Spoilers, dude.
It's getting to the point where you're not allowed to like Fight Club though, because like the world resembles Fight Club too much now.
Well, I don't think people realized that was satire. Everyone was like, Tyler Durden is awesome.
That's right.
And
That's
you're
what I'm
like,
saying.
Oh, no.
Too many people identify with them now and think that, you know, the whole point of the movie was to blow up the banks. Like, and that's what you're supposed to take from that.
Yeah, if you watch that whole movie about like the fragile male ego and your takeaway is like, oh, you should call people snowflakes. You fucked up.
Okay, back to Magic. I heard you pre-released a little, Jason. How'd it go?
Team Jason All and Joey D went 2-1 playing some Two-Headed Giant. Two-Headed Giant is the best Magic format, and out of all the Two-Headed Giant partners I've had over the years, he is the most recent. We had enough knights for 2 knights decks. It was just dumb. We had red-white knights and then black-green knights. We just had all the knights. Every creature in the set's a knight.
Well, and this is actually interesting. I read Mark Rosewater's article about the design of Eldraine. And, you know, outside looking in, after they had Innistrad be a success, and then, you know, they kind of hit on similar things when they went back to it and they did Egypt World or whatever. I basically thought they were just trying to hit all the major check marks of popular things to push the game's popularity. But according to Rosewater, and of course there's going to be some embellishment here, but he says Eldraine, like basically what we think of as Eldraine, medieval fairy tale world, got shot down repeatedly. And it was somebody else pitched a set of like Arthurian legend, like Camelot, and that got greenlit. But then the fairy tale aspect got, I'm not going to say shoved in, but basically got merged.
It got kind of Shrek'd in there.
Yeah, it got merged with later in its cycle, and that's how we got Eldraine.
I can understand why they'd be skeptical of that, because that's like Return to Lorwyn, right? And that's.
But see, well, that's the thing is, I've started playing in Lorwyn, and I didn't view it like that. I mean, maybe if I'd been around a little more.
Well, you're a sample size of 1 there, bud.
Well, I know. But what I'm saying is, like, I never even really had heard that until Eldraine came out, and people started saying, "Oh, it's similar to Lorwyn." Like, I never even knew whether I got it or not. I never
it's
even
not,
knew
but
that
it's
was
hard
the
to
intent
pitch
of
that
Lorwyn.
to the head of like whatever Hasbro guy.
Yeah. You really knocked it out of the park with that Battleship movie, so we want you in charge of Magic set development.
I'm in though. Like I'm completely in for let's hit it all. Like let's have the the fairy tale world. Let's have the Egypt world. I'm excited for Viking world. Like let's have I'd say Game of Thrones world, but that's every world in Magic. But let's we had Greek world.
I think Eldraine's Game of Thrones because you have the incest twins. That's
yeah.
That's as close
Eldraine
as we're gonna get.
I mean, Dominaria was really Game of Thrones world, right?
Yeah.
But I just assumed that they had this big check mark where they realized that we can just essentially shove Magic into whatever thing is resonant with people, and that is a good strategy for designing sets. And maybe it's not actually that way.
Okay, so let's go down the checklist. Robots. Have they done robots?
Well, what do you
Mirrodin.
They also tried to do that with Ixalan, right? And it backfired. They were like, pirates, dinosaurs, fuck it, we'll do them both. And then
Yeah.
Well,
And it
I
was
don't
so
know
close
if
to
that's...
like vehicles. It was I kept thinking of the T-Rex flying the F-15 from the old Calvin and Hobbes comics. I'm like, this set's gonna be lit.
I don't know that Ixalan bombed because of that or because the set sucked. Like, I don't know that people had a complaint with the flavor of the set. They just had the set just wasn't fun to draft and was underpowered, and like there were lots of reasons people didn't like the set, but I'm not sure any of them were the theme. But I don't know, maybe.
We've had robots and mummies and vampires and werewolves and ninjas and pirates. What's a thing that like we haven't done?
We have not had Pacific Rim, but that's what Eloria is going to be.
We haven't had space either.
Space.
Wouldn't that
outer
be
space.
dumb? Like,
well, there's one card, right? There's like Astral Drift in Modern Horizons that shows like Galaxy World, and I want to go there.
Well, here's what we're gonna get. We're gonna get the Blind
well,
Eternities.
Hushbringer shows sentient mouths. I don't think we're gonna go to sentient mouth plane where everything looks like a spray painted T-shirt in a mall kiosk.
Blind Eternities, which is where I don't know the Eldrazi live or came from or something like that. That might be like Space World since it's just kind of a void. That's probably the closest we'd get, I think.
That's like that Eldritch stuff.
What do you think the next big arc is? Because apparently the Bolus arc that concluded with War of the Spark, that was like a 3-year plan.
It's gonna be a card with Phyrexia.
I do think it's gonna involve Phyrexia. I think so.
But they gotta let the uber bad guy simmer. They gotta chill. They gotta cool down off the climax of Nico Bolas, and then they'll visit it in like a year.
It was Eldrazi and then a 3-year Bolus arc. So.
Yep.
Which just makes me feel really old because Battle for Zendikar feels like it was a couple weeks ago. So, I don't know. Moving on, let's talk financials here. So, something I can report from my stores, we're only getting 24 Brawl decks to sell. And that, apparently, we have above the average. So, that's, fascinating to me, actually, because that's so few, because I just assume they're all going to get sold instantly because of the stupid arcane signets in them. Plus, some of these cards are standard playable. Some of them are going to be good in standard, etc. Like we talked about last week with Shaheen. So that is a really low number on these cards, especially in the first, until that next print run comes out.
Which they clearly did on purpose to make these dumb things sell. And then when they sell, they'll be like, oh, Brawl's popular.
I don't know if that's true.
I don't know about that much, but
it's true, man. Because we have to buy them because there are standard cards that we
they
need
printed
that are only in the
Oko.
Brawl
You think
decks.
they're masterminding at that like high of a level?
Oko's pretty stupid.
Well,
it's
not
like
as
it's like the
stupid as saying
government
not to buy it
conspiracy.
at
It's like the
30.
argument against government conspiracies. You can't argue that the government like has a spy up everyone's butthole because they can't like even function at a base level on their own. Like you can't argue that Wizards has 8 million machinations in place.
I think getting people who have no business designing Brawl sets to do the Brawl sets and then like meeting them out very slowly because the OP cards in there are going to be very expensive, and then you say, oh, we're out, and then when you release some more, there's a feeding frenzy because people need $25 arcane signets. That's not as difficult as like designing a set well, which
that's true. I think it's also equally likely though that it was more like whoever makes the numbers on, okay, well, these cost us X dollars to print, so we're only going to do this many of them because we're not sure, we don't have any data to know if it's going to be popular.
Yeah,
that decision gets made completely independently of we're putting arcane signet into.
Yeah.
Even if Arcane Signet is put in with the intention to sell them, they, like the number of ones that are getting made might have gotten decided long before they realized
Yes.
they could make them an auto sell with Arcane Signet.
That's where I'm at, is that this is like a Modern Masters
confidence.
1 situation where it's like dip your toe in the water and see where things are.
Yeah. Which is fine, except for the standard legal cards that are expensive and Arcane Signets. That's all.
Correct. Correct.
I mean, so anyways, what I'm saying is if you're in Oklahoma City, come buy them for me before we run out at Stormbrew Games in Edmond. But if you don't want to get them from us, you could get them from our sponsor, channelfireball.com, home of the best Magic content
Seamless
on the internet. I know, it's what I do, man. It's a gift. It is a gift. You should definitely check it out. We got some.
I can't drive the bus, but I can swerve the bus underneath a Channel Fireball billboard in the speed analogy.
LSV did set reviews. If you're trying to draft, you should definitely check those out. Frank Carson then took LSV set reviews and everyone else's good, like a handful of the good set reviews, including his own. And then
wait, did it count our set review?
I don't think he did ones with grades for people for playability, and then he ran them all through some sort of Frank Karsten math thing, and he comes out with an article that has statistically, based on the ratings and the average draft position on draftsim.com or whatever that website is, this is how each card stacks up in power level against the rest, and it has a 1 to whatever the last card in the set is order of playability.
Pack one, pick one ability.
Pack one, pick one ability. So you go. It's called an early pick order for Throne of Eldraine. Definitely check that one out and check out some of the sales while you're on the site.
Your pitch gets longer every week. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of buying cards from people, TCG Player I hear is increasing their fees. DJ, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so this is an announcement that came out a couple weeks ago. I haven't run the hard math myself, but I believe it's roughly a 1% increase for non-direct sellers, and it probably scales similarly with direct. I know that the $3 or $2.99 and under on direct isn't getting changed. That's 50% still, but the generalization is that TCG Player is already like slightly the highest fees out there in terms of a marketplace compared to like eBay or compared to CardSphere or compared to hashtag Mage Market, hashtag not sponsored. And Stu Summers wrote a really good mini series of tweets that sort of break down the various options you have as a seller if you're looking to engage in the finance marketplace and sell your cards for real money versus whether you want to trade them for other cards, that kind of thing. But the long and short of it is that I still would argue that TCG Player is one of the better places to sell your cards, even if the fees are going up, just because of the easy UI if you are a new seller. Like if you got into Magic and like War of the Spark, Ravnica Allegiance for some ungodly reason you're listening to this podcast, or managed to find us, then I would argue if you are just like dipping your toe into that finance world, I would still recommend TCG Player or Buy List as a tier 1 place to move your cards, just because of the ease of access of the platform. I feel like eBay is a lot higher barrier to entry if you're looking to just like sell cards en masse and like list a 5-row of cards or whatever. I feel like eBay is a lot more of a pain in the butt and has a higher number of unscrupulous buyers out there who are willing to take advantage of the platform's favor towards buyers. TCG Player, I feel, is a more fair marketplace for both parties. I would argue that TCG Player, even though they have slightly higher fees, you have a higher visibility of your cards on the platform. So you'll move through cards quicker and you'll sell them much faster, as opposed to eBay or CardSphere or Mage Market. That's just my personal view. I'm a direct seller with over 13,000 sales on the platform over the course of like 7 years. And I personally use TCG. I use a mix of TCG Player, Buy Lists, just like 18 different things that most people don't have to worry about. But the very, very short version of this is I would still use TCG Player. I would still use Buy Lists like Card Kingdom, like Channel Fireball, like 95 MTG if you have access to in-person events. There are very, very good margins out there for you if you are looking to engage in the finance marketplace. And I don't think that there has ever been a time that is better for players who are looking to make a large percentage of retail on their cards. I think that 2019 and 2020 compared to like every year that Magic has existed are like the best years to sell Magic cards, just because the spread between cards is so thin nowadays compared to back in the day. Like when this podcast started, we'd be like, oh yeah, this card has like a 30% spread. That's really, really, really good. You get like 70% of your value. That's awesome. Nowadays, like 90% is like decent for most like staples. So
yeah, you can get a bunch. I tend to go the buy list direction almost exclusively. My store lists on TCG Player through direct, because that's one of the best options available to us. But personally, I almost always just buy lists to either Card Kingdom or Channel Fireball, because it's just easier most of the time. Yeah. It's just so much less work. And I'm somebody, and I'm on this podcast, I obviously understand the value of grinding out every nickel you can, and I do buy list nickel cards, but there's a value to your time, and most of the time I default to buy listing because it's so much.
Yes. I've gotten a few questions about this whole TCG Player thing, and then I told those people that I would talk about it on the podcast, and there is like 3 hours worth of like college lecture material that I could just break out and run all the spreadsheets and talk about all the different outs and everything. But like, again, Corbin's time management and time valuation equation is important here, and most of you don't need that. So the very, very short version is like, you should still sell your cards on TCG. You should still sell your cards on the Facebook Marketplace. You should still buy list cards. And this whole slight fee increase by TCG Player doesn't feel like it was necessary, but I also don't feel like it changes much in the overall grand scheme of things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still going to break down however you want it to break down.
Yes.
Okay, let's break some bulk.
Breaking bulk time. Breaking bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, breaking bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking bulk. The end.
Modern Masters 1 multicolor card.
What rarity?
Oh, is the mill card.
What rarity?
My silence is an answer.
It's not Mind Funeral.
No.
This is stupid. Kitchen.
Your silence is not an answer.
It's a creature. It flies.
Tower Gargoyle.
No. It is not a card you put in your deck.
So it's a token?
Yeah.
Cool.
Thopter
token.
What? What Thopter?
Fairy token.
Blue-black.
It is the blue-black fairy token, yes. For the Ona, Queen of the Fae creates. This is the most expensive token in Modern Masters 1 packs. I often see it passed over just because they're tokens. Like, nobody really looks through tokens. People know the obvious one. Like, people know the obvious stuff, like the Wormcoil tokens, the old emblems like the Koth and the Kiora and the Sorin emblems. Those are the really obvious ones. And the Godsire token got a lot of hype recently. It showed up on MTG stocks because like it's $10 now or whatever.
Yeah,
but like the $1 ones get passed over all the time. Like the Almaget Worm token, the soldier double-sided emblem with Elspeth from the Modern Event deck. Like there's a lot of tokens that get passed over in bulk. And if you just it's very hard to go wrong if you just like offer to buy tokens at like $2 per thousand or something like that. If you have a buy list out nearby, like if a store nearby you buys tokens at like $1 per thousand, you just offer $2 per thousand, and then you like gamble. It's just a very, very cheap and effective gamble. If you need something to do while you're watching Netflix, you just pull out all the Amonkhet Worm tokens.
We chill. That's what we do. You watch Netflix and chill. That's what I've been led to believe happens.
People think they're getting over on me, and I see that the tokens are in there, but I just don't say anything, and they're like, "Ha, he bought filler," but I'm just pulling out double.
Yeah, I mean, like the Eldritch Moon Wizard token is like one of the more expensive cards in that set.
Yeah.
The Delver token.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like actually $1 something buy list, and I don't think anybody really pays attention to that.
So the one note I have on tokens, and this depends a lot on your out, is that you a lot of times, and this goes for basic lands too, especially and foil basic lands really, right? even if they're worth money, the buy list on them is, if you're looking at Channel Fireball or Card Kingdom or whatever, is not always actually in line with what the card's value is, because those things work on algorithms, and if they have X amount, they lower their buy list amount to X amount. And that doesn't mean I do this, find this a lot with basic lands, and it's the same with tokens, where the buy list on it will only be like 20% or something of the card's retail price. So you have to be a little bit. Fine. Yeah, no, what I'm saying, you have to be a little bit vigilant on it, because you can just set them back. What I usually do is, if it's not at least 50%, I'll just set it back, and it'll be in the next pile of cards I buy list in a month, and I'll check again. But also sometimes they're not on the list at all, and so you do need to be careful, because sometimes sometimes I use the buy list as a way to check myself, right? If I think a card's bulk or not, I'll look it up on the buy list, because that's just where I'm at. And if they have a buy list price, then great, it's not bulk. But that can sometimes be misleading for tokens or foil basics or that sort of thing.
Well, I mean, throwing it back into the pond is technically sometimes fine if you know what the card normally buy lists for. But I mean, there's also a time valuation equation there too.
Yes,
for like, if you throw the same fairy token back 8 times,
yeah,
then like just get rid of it for the 30 cents or whatever.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, I do it. I basically do a round of buy listing every probably like month and a half, 2 months, and I'll recognize if I've hit the same card a couple times, and then I just sell it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's something to keep in mind there. But yeah, the Fairy Rogue token is a good one. That's a 50-cent buy list on Fireball right now.
50 cents.
65 cents credit.
All right, I have a breaking bulk of the week, and then I have an actual breaking
go ahead.
pick. So this first one is one that I think is going to go up, and you should pull it before it does. This is a Mirrodin Besieged common. It's blue.
Ichor Wellspring.
Nope, it's blue.
Oh, the spy, the Emery lock thingy.
Yep, Mirrodin Spy. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, you may untap target creature. It's very good with Emery, Lurker the Lock. Basically, you generate infinite mana with Lotus Petal, and do other degenerate stuff. It's worth pulling. I think it's, it's just one of those things where nobody has any of these accessible, and they don't want to dig through a bunch of bulk, so the stores that have them listed for like 25 cents sell out. So
that's also a card that like gets passed over. Before Emery existed, had 0 home.
Mm-hmm. Well,
so like if
it was in Sai and Jwara and Sidri decks before, but not too many of them.
It didn't have like a buy list home.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
There was, sure, somebody played it in random commander decks, but like there was no actual like reason to pull that card out of bulk prior to Emery existing.
Well, it depends. Sometimes you just need your cards to play with, man. Because if you didn't have it, you had to go pay a quarter for it somewhere, which meant paying $1. All right, I've got a Ravnica Allegiance blue card for you guys.
Guild Summit was GRN.
It is not Guild Summit.
Ravnica Allegiance?
Uh-huh. That's my favorite of those two, by the way.
What color is it?
It's blue. It was so much fun to draft.
Oh,
Terry?
It's not Guild Summit.
What?
Is it Terry?
It is not Terramander, which, by the way, is still $1, everybody. But no, it is not Terramander.
Is it a rare?
Nope, it's a common.
The Wall?
Nope.
Jeebus.
It's not hard. I promise you're overthinking it if you haven't got it yet.
We haven't got it yet. We're overthinking
Oh, Persistent Petitioners.
It is Persistent Petitioners.
Oh.
It's one of those...
I will give you quarters on every single one that you find.
Yeah, Persistent Petitioners is so interesting because, and this is relevant with Throne of Eldraine out too, because Seven Dwarves is going to be the same way. To a lesser
not the same.
The meme, man. The meme. No, they don't need 30
Seven
of
Dwarves
them.
is going to be worthless.
Well,
Hate to break it to you.
We'll see. Persistent Petitioners is not good.
Do you want to Fogo bet that?
I do not want to Fogo bet on Seven Dwarves. That's for
sure. No, don't Fogo bet. A hot peanut bet.
I don't
Seriously,
know.
we need to do more of that. They have these like super hot peanuts that like
I don't
are
like
about
peanuts.
as hot as those chips.
We already did a fire bet. I don't.
DJ doesn't want. DJ's out now. If it's a chip bet, DJ won't bet.
No, I'll do it.
I'm not betting the chip.
They have super hot peanuts. I think instead of running your mouth, I think you guys bet the loser has to eat a hot peanut on camera. And then
I don't feel strongly enough about it to bet. I'll do it. One. But what
Corbin, you're locked in. You're
No,
locked in.
I'm
Corbin,
not.
DJ,
I got a
do it.
Google Calendar notification like 2 months ago that I was right about Martyr of Sands and you were not. So
Martyr of Sands?
yeah,
What did I have?
you said that card would still. You said that card would bounce right back after UMA.
Ooh.
I don't know about bounce right back.
Somebody find the tapes.
Help us, Sander. He's playing WoW Classic. He can't help us.
Rip. No one can help him either. It's still a quarter. I don't recall that argument at all. Anyways, persistent petitioners
I recall this one.
Persistent petitioners is 75 cents. And it's a kind of thing.
Seven Dwarves is not gonna be anywhere near that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
Maybe in the short term, just because I see people like hitting that mirror march where they win 5 coin flips in a row, and then just like,
there was a highlight. Amazonian Amy.
I thought
did
you,
on
Jason.
on
I
stream
think
the other day.
She hit 7 coin flips in a row.
Yeah,
and then
it was
cast
insane.
a spark double.
It was so cool.
No, Jason. When you said in the short term, I thought you were just gonna fade off there.
In the short term, because they're dwarves.
Yeah.
So you think I'm making an ableist joke about people of reduced height?
If we're making ableist jokes, it's
That
going to be
think?
about DJ being short, not about Seven Dwarfs.
It's funny because he's below average height.
Anyways, we all knew
How
that
tall are you,
persistent.
Jason?
No, you're not.
I said, how tall are you?
Oh, I thought you said I'm taller than you.
No.
I'm 5'11".
How much of that is the hair spikes?
About 2 inches.
I'll give you 2 inches. Take that.
Anyways, for the 4th time, persistent petitioners, we knew it was going to be worth money in the long term because of what it is. Your deck can have any number of them, and those people, blah, blah, blah. But it's actually 75 cents right now, worth more money than heavily played cards like Skewer the Critics and Cavalcade of Calamity and Frilled Mystic. So, and somehow
What are
it's
the
not been one of our
foils
picks of
worth?
the week before. So there you go,
What are the
persistent
foils?
petitioners.
When you said heavily played cards, I was like, who's selling HP copies of... I was like, why does somebody have a bunch of HP copies of Skewer the Critics on TCG? What are you looking at?
that's the only ones I want, man.
All my Frilled Mystics are heavily played because I love hugging Frilled Mystic so much. It's like a Mystic Snake.
It's very good, that's for sure.
So my other one is a blue card that has been printed 2 times, plus an IDW comic book printing, but the non-comic book printing is still money. It was from Invasion originally, and it's blue.
Standstill?
Nope, Invasion.
I'm trying to remember all those promos.
Windfall?
No.
Nope.
That's not an
Invasion.
IDW.
That was Urza Saga.
It's not an IDW promo.
You said it's not an IDW promo?
It
Is
is
it?
an IDW promo,
Oh.
but the IDW promo is like $5. I'm not counting that.
Okay. How many of those?
This is
There weren't that many, right?
No.
there
Yeah.
were quite a few,
Huh.
couple dozen. It's not High Tide.
No.
It's not Windfall.
I didn't realize there were that many IDW promos. I thought there were only like 6 to 10 or something.
No, they did that comic book for a while.
We
I had all the Faithless lootings, and I was just
Yep.
watching their price go up.
yeah,
Rip me.
we finally busted the ones at our store and just sold the cards because no one was ever buying the comic book.
I was buying 4 issues of every comic for a while, and then like it was like arrest one week, and then like tap 3 vampires to kill a creature and gain 3 life, or just like shit like that for like a year. And I was like, I can't buy 4 copies anymore. And they're like, oh, you missed High Tide and Duress and all this crap.
Duress is
The
big
card
money
is
one.
Washout.
Wash? I don't even know what that does.
It is
Washout is
4
return
mana,
all
return all...
Yeah, you pick a color and bounce all permanents of that color to their owner's hands for 3
Is it
mana.
permanents? I thought it was creatures.
Permanents.
Okay.
Well, I mean, that doesn't seem terrible, but...
It's not terrible.
Huh.
And it's a card I consistently get in bulk.
Was it a rare?
No, it's an
It was
uncommon.
It was an uncommon. Okay, and how much is it worth?
Like $1.
Huh, good to know.
I was buying
Budget
I bought
Cyclonic Rift.
before I ordered stuff online. I bought a pre-con that had a Mystic Snake and a Washout in it, so I had enough Washouts for my standard deck and enough Mystic Snakes for my casual deck.
They stopped
That was
doing
what
those
people used to have
IDW
to do.
promos, right? They're done.
I haven't seen a comic in a while.
Yeah, I think they stopped doing. I'm
Which is
looking at
too
them
bad.
now.
They're
There's-
now
I had no idea
they've
there were
moved
this
on to
many.
paid ebooks.
Yeah. I mean, can they charge for it? Then that's what they're doing. It's that simple. I remember.
mean, like,
I was thinking Treasure Hunt. That was the one I was trying to think of.
Zendikar is a long way from invasion.
Treasure Hunt was the one I liked. No, I know, but that was my favorite because it was just because it was a sweet meme deck. Yeah,
Well,
they have a
Fate
real
is
mix
the-
of good IDW comic book promos and trash ones.
I know, and the trash ones all came in a big clump, so I
Yeah.
stopped buying the book. And then like, oh, just kidding, duress, idiot.
Yeah,
Now that you're not getting it.
yeah.
Anymore.
There's like Duress, Acquires, Standstill, High Tide, Faithful Saluting, but then they have what is Ogre Arsonist, Breath of
Rest.
Malfagor,
Yeah, Breath of Malfagor. Jesus.
Consume Spirit,
Yeah.
Arrest. Wow, that's
They're
pretty
not
funny.
great.
But I told my friend he's a stand-up comic and he tours the country and he's into comic books and he's going to these comic book stores all the time. I was like, if you want something that'll take you 5 minutes, and could make you money, just ask if they have the old IDW Magic the Gathering comic books that have the card promos in there. And if they don't, they probably don't. Great. But if they do, look up the cards.
Yeah.
It'll take 5 minutes if they have them, and chances are you won't find anything, but there's a non-zero chance you find a $20 bill. You were just poking around and you pay for your comics on that trip. So that's something for our listeners. Like, go into weird shops, any place that's got like 1 5-row of Magic cards barely sorted and that's it. That's where you find your best deals.
Yeah,
Because
if you see
Priced
like
their cards back in 2003.
Yeah, if you see a faded out ad for Windows Vista in the front of a computer store, that is prime Sylvan Library in bulk material.
What you got up against Windows Vista?
Are you
man?
referencing an episode of the cast from 2012?
What?
What?
No?
Like Bouchard and I we went to GP Orlando in like 2012 or 2013 or something, and there was like this old computer repair shop that had like a bunch of 4th and 5th edition stuff, and he looked the stuff up in a Scry magazine from like
Oh my
1997.
I am not referencing. I didn't.
DJ was like 14 years old then. He didn't listen to the podcast.
But we bought Sylvan Libraries from that guy. That's why I was. Are you sure you're not referencing that? Because we literally bought Sylvan Libraries from a guy in an old computer repair shop. Are you just fucking?
Well,
with me?
now I know I should
It
be
might
going
be
to.
subconscious, to be honest.
I
Like,
should be going to computer repair shops for Magic cards. Good to know.
I mean, it was just he showed up on the Windows the Wizard store locator for some reason.
Well,
He's like, I gotta get
it's
registered.
not that
I haven't
hard. Yeah,
sold
it's
it."
not that hard to get on there. I know
Yeah.
of stores which I won't name, but there are stores that are on there who do not hold events and do not meet the requirements for being a WPN store. And so I know that you can defraud that system.
Well, the joke's
hashtag
on him.
finance tips.
Yeah,
Defraud
mean-
the system.
Hashtag if I find out about it, I will report you and Wizards will do nothing.
got him.
All right. DJ, you got an email for us this week?
I do. It is from a week ago, which is not too bad
That's pretty good for us.
considering Corbin's vault.
From the vault.
From the vault. This is from Keith Austin, and the title is Urgent. Please help me quit my job.
Oh, shoot. Don't. That's my advice. Don't.
Hey Brewer Crew, as the title says, I am trying to quit my menial, underpaying job and start working for myself. I have an opportunity to secure as much as $10K in funding through this great company called It Works. No, I'm just kidding. It's not that. I have an opportunity to secure as much as $10K in funding provided I have a reasonable business plan. MTG Finance is something I am fairly knowledgeable at a base level and I think is one of my better possible routes right now. But I'd like some advice on how to get started and where to put my initial investment. I'm realistic, and if I could at least go down to part-time within 6 months of starting up, that would be more than I ever dared hope for. I was also wondering if there's a way to make sealed product profitable without having a WMPN certified store.
Guess I
I'm going
answered that one already.
I'm going to be drawing up my business plan over the next week or so if you could point me in the right direction, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for your time. Sent for my N64. P.S. It
You
cost
should be
me
business
$40 to send
planning
this
to get
email.
reported.
P.S. This cost me $40 to send this email. Who knew Gmail for N64 required the memory expansion?
I did, man. You couldn't even play Perfect Dark. You think you're gonna send an email from Chica Salte?
This may sound callous, but if you do not have $10K in funding for your own business plan, then I would not even consider quitting my job.
I'm going to give it in a less callous version. That is a nice amount of... if you wanted to be some sort of high-end store, $10,000 is like the minimum that it even takes to, say, get at a GP to buy cards, where you need another
$10,000 is the booth cost for one weekend.
Yeah.
That is
then you
public
need another
knowledge.
$20,000 to buy cards. So
and plus like $30,000 for like labor and like employ and like food.
So
and,
well, that's
like,
not what he's trying to do, though, right? But like, I'm just trying to give a baseline here. That's what you're looking at there. What you can do, and I mean, we've all quit our jobs at various points in our life to do Magic stuff full time, but I don't mind being completely honest about this. I worked at a newspaper. I was a sports writer. I had a good job. I covered OU football. I got to cover national championships and other sports. I got to travel, some parts of it. I got to travel regionally, right, and go to games. And I loved all of that. It was great. I got paid like $34,000 a year. I waited until I've heard that some people say you're not supposed to quit your job until you're making 3 times that in your side hobby or whatever. That's obviously unrealistic, but I quit my job when I had the opportunity to do enough work to make more doing freelance than I was at my job. So for you, if you're, and I don't know what you're getting paid or anything like that, but if you're looking at, you have $10,000 startup, what I would suggest is that you just suck it up at the menial underpaying job, as much as that sucks, and get going with this. And I think you do what we've talked about on here, which is not defrauding Wizards, but open up a TCG player store, find those margins where if you have GPs, if you're in a position where you can get to GPs and sell cards, and you just start doing that, and you use that $10,000 to buy cards.
Yeah.
Not spec on cards, buy collections.
Yes.
But you have the ability to throw some money around there in a way that a lot of people don't. And it just takes time. And honestly, it probably takes longer than 6 months to sort of become the go-to guy for that. You have to get to the point where you are paying better than stores. It's going to be hard because you have to pay better than the stores in your area. You have to be willing to do all the crappy
with stores
stuff
in your area.
Right. Yeah.
And be the store in your area without actually paying the rent of the store in your area.
Right. You have to be able to pay as well or better than them on cards, but you're not going to be able to sell the cards for as much. So you're going to be working with very small margins, but you're not going to have the overhead. And you just have to do the little things, which is, if there's not a Facebook group for the area you're in, make one. And then be the guy who is willing to travel and pay 70% on cards so you can sell them for 80%. And you just grind it out and you turn $1 into $2 over and over again. And it takes a long time. But if you're realistically looking to try to do it, you have to get something like that, because it's not having money is step 1, but it's almost like step 0. Having money to start up doesn't get you anywhere. Time and work do.
I am a very, very, very rare outlier in terms of got into this super young, was trading and trying to keep my finger on the pulse at 15, 16 years old, and then happened to have $1,000 in spending money when I went to college, and used that initial bankroll of $1,000 and put in 80-hour work weeks doing Magic finance plus school plus internship plus side job, whatever. And then turned that into a more significant bankroll over the course of my 4-year undergrad. And I am a very, very rare outlier because I had my room and board paid for by college loans / scholarship / RA job. And then I got to the point where when I was in grad school where I could make more doing what I do now than I would have if I had continued my undergraduate degree or my graduate school degree for mental health counseling. So
yeah, and I started. Now this is the other way you might go about this, and this is another option, right? You're going to have to do all those things I just mentioned no matter what. But you, like DJ said, you can work with stores. I mean, that's how we started. I started with one. I traded on Friday nights and at events, and then there was a store that didn't. They kind of did singles, but they didn't do it very well. They gave me one shelf space on consignment with one binder of cards, and I just turned $1 into $2 until I had, however many tens of $1,000s in inventory, which then I basically used to buy into ownership of a store, which is where I'm at now. But it took me, I don't know, like 6 years to get to that point, right? And you just have to be on that grind the whole time. You have to be the person willing to drive at 1 a.m. To give somebody cash because
if you have not bought a Mox Pro under a Walmart street lamp, then you're not a real
which is to say there's a lot of privilege involved in what we're saying, because you have to be in a position to do that. I could never do that now, right? Now I have a family, I have a wife and a kid and jobs and work and coach soccer. Like I couldn't do that stuff on the same level I did it then. Now I just tell people to come meet me at the store on this night, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But the common thread between all of us is that we did it when we were younger with fewer responsibilities so that we could devote that time to build it up. But I think, I don't know the situation in your area, but working with a store is got to be your best bet, because one, it gives you, there's such a big difference between buying cards in a storefront and not, even if the storefront just simply serves as a way for you to get in touch with people. Who then
just a place to pass out your business card.
Yeah. Yep. So there's so many variables involved, but just finding out if there's a way you can work with a store is a good start, because stores like people coming into their store, right? Even if they don't make all the money off the cards, if they don't have $10,000 to buy cards, a lot of LGSs don't just have 10 grand lying around to spend on collections or whatever.
Yes. You
can come in with a bunch of inventory, and that's a way to get started. And if you have a deal, and eventually it's weird because you can only grow so big before it starts becoming bad for the store, but you get started somewhere. Yeah. And if you find ways to keep leveling up and keep working with people. But it's hard what we're saying is I would be very cautious about quitting your job, assuming, you have like real life benefits from that job, like health insurance or whatever, right? It's a long process.
The other thing that makes me very hesitant to even remotely encourage this, as cruel as that sounds, is that $10,000 in funding it's not a huge loan from like a business standpoint perspective, but it is a not insignificant amount of money to be indebted to somebody for. And traditionally, a very large percentage of small startup businesses fail. And those that do succeed take much longer than 6 months to repay their initial loans completely. So depending on what your source of funding is, like I have had people come up to me with similar offers of like, if you loan me X $1,000, I will try to like make the Magic Finance hustle happen in my area and then pay you back over X months. And I have turned down every single one of them.
So
even if I trusted the person, and even if I was like, there's a decent chance this person has the skill set and time and ability to make this happen, I have still turned down those offers.
Yeah. So I think what we're saying here is I don't want to discourage you from doing this. That's why we have this podcast. But start with beer money. And I would assume that if you're a patron of the podcast, and you've already got the beer money part handled, but now you need to go to like rent money. Like, can I get enough steady volume of stuff coming into me to pay my rent with this every month and still make money?
The break point for all of us was like, we were all putting in 80-hour weeks and realizing that like the EV of our time on this thing that had already turned into something much larger than itself was better than staying where we were at the quote consistent job. Like I was driving like 10 hours a week in grad school all over to internships and stuff, and also doing this like graduate placement assistantship thing, and also studying for like exams and stuff, and also doing Magic Finance on top of that. And Magic was the thing funding all of it, and the money that I was making from Magic was being poured into grad school. And I had reached that point of like, it is better for me to not have to throw away money towards grad school and continue making money in Magic, and you need to be at that point before you consider dropping out that other source of income.
And for what it's worth, again, I'll be honest, I'm not even close to make the majority of money that I make from selling cards. I mean, for me, it was, I can do coverage at 20 events a year if I leave my job. Oh, and also selling cards is a part of it. But, I don't support my family off of selling Magic cards.
And I mean, neither do I. I mean, like...
Yeah. I mean, DJ has a job with 95. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, that was a good email. That was we do so much bullshit on the podcast. We don't usually get to talk about.
Yeah, you have to sit through the talk of the.
the speed.
That's the way this works,
way
Corbin. You have to pay your dues and listen to the fart jokes and listen to the thumb drive digestion, and then you get the quality, tangible business opportunity investment information.
I think people don't realize that you're not limited. You can't effort your way to buying enough. You can effort your way to selling everything you get.
Yeah.
Yes.
As efficiently as possible, and you can pick nickels, and you can, send out everything, but until you can reliably buy everything you need to buy, all that effort is for naught.
Right.
If you just blow out of stuff.
And that's where it takes a long time. That's the one that's the variable you have very little control over. You just have to have enough people who have, so much of the people who sell me collections are people who played Magic with me 3 years ago, then drifted away from Magic, then quit. But then they're friends with me on Facebook or whatever, and they see me talk about Magic, and they remember that I was the guy who bought their cards, and or they send their friend to you. But that stuff doesn't it just takes so long to build it up.
Yeah, it's people coming into the store now. I'm not driving at 3 a.m. like I used to.
Yep.
All right.
Back when you had every conceivable app on your phone, you had like Let Go and Craigslist and everything.
Dude, with the beginning, I was trading. I had a not smartphone, and I would text PriceBot or whatever. It was like an actual SMS text message, the name of a card, and it would send me back the price that it had pulled off of Star City or whatever. It was something somebody had set up. I don't remember what it was called, but that was before there were apps to look up prices.
Back in my day, I gave my business card to a pawn shop and told them to call me if anyone sold cards.
I don't know if that works or not, actually. There's a comic book store near my house that I have given business cards to before because they don't do Magic and they didn't have any interest in doing Magic. But they did say they'd send people my way. No one's ever come my way. All right, let's speaking of beer money.
Because you got your business card free from Vistaprint, didn't you?
I didn't.
You have to at least pay the minimum for like the double-sided ones.
I was going to do like a fake ad for Vistaprint and then pretend that they sponsored us. Because last time we pretended somebody sponsored us, we got free squatty potties out of it.
Somebody asked me, I got hit up for a business card at Sonic the other day. It was like midnight and I was getting a shake. And some guy, I was like on my phone in line and he's like, "Oh, are you in trouble?" Usually when people look at their phone, they're in trouble. I'm like, "No, people are just arguing about Magic." He's like, "What's Magic? I know Magic. I used to play D&D, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Oh yeah, where did you ever play D&D?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I used to go to this store." And I'm like, "All right, man, well, that's the competitor to my store that I own. So thanks for that. I really appreciate that." And then he asked for a business card so he could probably not ever come to my store. It was depressing time.
What if he does come to your store?
Well, I hope he does.
"Oh,
man.
I'm the kind of lunatic that eats the food at Sonic. Don't you want me as a customer?"
Sonic's good.
No, Sonic's unacceptable.
I mean, whatever, man. It's fine.
It's a place to get drinks.
It is what it is.
What's the weirdest method that you've gotten a collection before?
Besides the time I had to watch a guy pull a condom through his nose.
What?
You mean
why would you say besides that?
Watch a guy pull a condom through his nose?
This guy he was selling me cards and he wanted X dollars, and I told him I can do Y dollars, and he said, "But I really want X dollars. What if I did a magic trick? Because I'm only one of like 4 people in this country who can do this, who can put a condom this far down my throat or something." I don't really know. Sword swallowing was maybe the basis of all. I don't really know. In the end, I said,
"How have you never told this story?"
I mean, I probably have, but it's been years. But I was so I was like,
He hasn't.
oh, that's really cool, man. That's awesome. I'm excited for you. But no, I can't. I don't care. But I was like, I can't do that much. And he's like, okay. Well, I won't do that one.
Dude, if I'm buying a collection and a dude pulls out a condom, I'm leaving.
He was like, okay, well, I won't do that one because that one's like dangerous to my esophagus or something. But I'll tell you what, just, you've been great. This price is fine, but I'm going to do a trick anyways. And then he pulled a condom through his nose, out the other nostril or something. Through his ear,
You mean like
out his
through his
nostril,
nose and out his throat? Because
I honestly don't even remember the exact details of what he did because it was just weird. But yeah, that happened. But I don't know. But like the weirdest way I actually got around to buying, like, that was somebody already selling me a collection. I don't know the weirdest way that like I encountered a collection.
I definitely drove to Indiana for a guy that said he had a 1,000 rares and mystic rares, and then the box that the rares are supposedly in was all 4th edition commons. He's like, I thought they were rare because they didn't have the expansion symbol.
Well, that's a risky run. That was either going to be a gold mine or that.
Yep.
Luckily, drive to Indiana is not as big a deal as it sounds. It was like 45 minutes, but it was still kind of a blowout. He was like, I kind of was hoping to get the $600 I need to rent this like hotel I'm staying in for another week. And I was like, I'll give you 30. And he's like, all right.
I did buy cards from a guy whose girlfriend had just left him or they just broke it. This was actually last year too. I occasionally still do the 1 a.m. house calls, but I hung out with this guy for like 2.5 hours in his apartment while we watched some, I don't remember the name of the show. It's a comedian and there's a lot of memes of it, of the shooting. It's already dead thing.
Eric Andre?
Yeah. So we watched that show for like 2 hours while he pulled all the cards out of boxes.
Must have made quite an impression.
He was pulling all the cards out of boxes. And again, this is just a dude who had played Magic with me 5 years ago and remembered me and hit me up when his girlfriend left and he needed money to keep his lights on. And I sat while he went through all of his cards at 1 a.m. Bought them all. I felt like I was helping, but it was sad at the same time.
Oh, those are the worst. Yeah, where
at least he had good cards. So like, he got an amount of money from me that helped with whatever he needed. The worst is when you really do want to help somebody and then they got like $20 worth.
Yeah, when they're like, I have all these lawyer fees, so I gotta pay child protection or like I gotta get my kid back or whatever, and they're like, I have all these Magic cards, I can finally do it, and then you're like, dude, you have to tell them that like their parents are dead, basically.
Yeah, it's rough, man.
You have to just like give them the doctor talk where you pull the mask down.
That's really true.
And
actually,
you do like the slight head shake.
It's like, I'm sorry,
I had people
man.
try to sell
really
me a collection and
but,
they had like nothing and they acted all like dejected and surprised. And they're
And
like,
then
well,
the
that's
vice
what the
versa.
other store we went to first offered us. And I was like, what did you expect?
They thought they were just scumbagging them. Yeah.
I think one of my more interesting ones is I bought a collection from a guy who was, I mean, I've told you guys this story, but he was overzealous to sell his collection and fund a trip to Arizona to become a Border Patrol agent.
Yikes.
He was very,
serving
very
his
excited,
country, you mean?
very excited to go protect the border.
And I'm proud to be an American. Let me guess, he sold you a Tron deck. Because that's who plays Tron.
You can't make fun of Tron players, Jason. Come on, man. They get offended. Just ask Andy. Yeah, that was fun. That was a good email. All right, let's wrap up this week.
That was an hour. We talked about an hour for that. Write us more emails.
Oh, wait, we're doing pick of the week. Let's do pick of the week.
Clearly starved for emails. If we're an email. Oh, we better talk for an hour.
We got to talk about ourselves.
A precious
man.
little email.
Everyone wants to talk about themselves for a long time. Okay.
Yeah, that's why we got a podcast and did it for 7 years.
That's true.
You're
I
not
think we
wrong.
might have to be. Is it 8 yet? It might almost just.
No,
be
it was
8
7
now.
in March.
Oh well, okay, yeah, we're close.
It's
then.
50 to 52 episodes a year, so
We're
you figure
closer to-
every 50 episodes is a
No,
year.
it's not. It's not though, Jason.
That's not how this one works.
One, we used to skip a bunch of
Number
we used to skip a bunch of weeks.
200.001,
Yeah.
200.002.
No,
Yeah,
it was 199.5. Then when
It
we
was
realized,
199.1.
no, we did 199 point, or it was like 99.5 or something, and then we realized we would need more than another week, so we did 99.6.
Yeah.
And then there was one where like I think Corbin just like skipped a week or something, and we rolled with it forever. Like,
How many episodes have we done? Somebody find out for us.
Sander, pull your head out of WoW Classic, man. Here's the thing: it's the same now as it was in 2010, and it will be the same next year too. You can take a minute. Come back to the podcast, Sander. We miss you.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
all right, I have an expensive pick of the week this week.
Okay.
It is Sarah's Sanctum, because that card is at its lowest since like it originally spiked from the commander decks, the enchantment deck
Only
So,
$100.
many moons ago. Well, that's
Well,
the
it's
thing.
on
is
the reserved list.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. You're right.
Like-
it has bottomed out at 100. You're absolutely right. It will be 200.
Well, that's the thing is like you can catch moderately played ones on TCG Player for 75-ish, 78.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we're returning to Theros. And the last time we returned to Theros, Sarah's Sanctum jumped from a good old $16 to 30 something.
Yep, just on the basis of, I don't know what people thought.
Enchantment set. It was literally that simple.
But yeah, I mean, we are returning to Theros. It is confirmed, and I would not be surprised if this jump another 30%. And it's a reserveless card. It's not going anywhere. We just got Hall of Heliod's Generosity. Enchantments will always be I mean, like, enchantments are a thing in Eldraine, right? There's, like, the blue-white shell of Limited is, like, if you control an artifact or enchantment, do the thing. So, like, there's a lot of enchantment-y stuff, and it'll never be bad.
I mean, you don't have to sell me on Sarah Sanctum.
No,
I've
I know,
made
but
money on that card so many times.
In terms of listeners who are relatively new to the cast, this pick of the week is not a go buy a bunch of Sarah Sanctums then try to sell them for later, because that will almost certainly not work out in your favor. This is a, if you have been humming and hawing over buying a Sarah Sanctum over the course of the past 6 months, now is your warning sign to pick it up before it hits 110.
Yeah. Well,
So this is a save money on pick of the week, not a buy a bunch of, like, there's a big contrast between different kinds of picks of the week. Like, I had one a few weeks ago with, like, Exotic Orchard. That is one where you buy, like, 100 and wait. This is one where you buy one and save money on it later. There
I
are
have
different...
a buy 100 and wait one.
All
Okay.
right, let's hear it.
Mirage Mirror is not quite the cheapest it's ever been. It's it's plateauing.
$2.
you know,
Yeah.
It's about $2 on TCG Player. It's flirted with $5 on Card Kingdom and some other sites though. So Channel's got them for about $2 also.
That's a good price.
So I think $2 is a good price on Mirage Mirror. It's a little bit reprintable, but it's also a little awkward to reprint, and it's a $5 card. It just doesn't know it yet.
Yeah, well, it's a good time because it has been trending down, but it's been out of standard, right? So it's kind of forgotten about.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
it also at some point will just be a new combo with something.
I don't think this card combos with things.
Well, it combos with everything. Not combos. It's
It's just a thing.
It synergizes
It's-
with everything.
Sure, sooner or later it's going to be the Sterling Grove or
Synergy.
something or whatever, right?
well, it's not. It's just a utility card that like just goes in a lot of decks and just
Yeah.
quietly does work.
Yeah, it's good. All right, I will go even lower here. We've gone from 100 to 2 to 1 here. Ritual of Soot is a very good standard card. It's going to be the sweeper of choice along with the card Realm Cloak Giant. Those are your two wrath options in standard. Is Ritual of Soot for 4 to get all
Well,
creatures
there's the
from
-3/-3
CMC3 or less.
to the tribe of your choice
Yeah,
too.
that one's probably
That one's not
gonna
good.
do much. Yeah, Realm Cloak Giant is pretty good, but 5 is not 4, and a lot of times that matters in your Esper deck or whatever. So Ritual of Soot is under $1. So I don't know if it's. I'd say go buy them all or whatever. But it's most certainly a card that I'd be looking to pick up at trade binders here because we're at the beginning of the format. We actually don't know anything about the format, which is very interesting because there's not a ton of data. And yes, it's all out on Arena now, but it's not like we get data from Arena. We don't have a metagame breakdown of the top 100 Mythic decks on Arena. That's not how it works. And the standard 2020 event was different than actual standard because it didn't have all of the Eldraine cards. So we really just have no clue what actually is the top of the meta. The Magic Pro League this week will probably give us some details. The Mythic Championship here in a couple weeks, which I'll be at.
I also think
will give us some data. But Ritual of Soot is going to be important to control decks as the format evolves and as those control decks figure out what they're trying to be.
I think Ritual of Soot is a good one, but it's also worth mentioning that Guilds of Ravnica block as a whole will continue to rise as it enters its second year of standard, and this is just a trend that happens all the time. As the back facing block goes through its second year, those cards are not being opened anymore. People are not getting those boxes off the prize wall. It's just those cards become harder to find as they get squirreled away into binders and just tossed aside and sold or whatever.
For about 6 months.
Yes, you have a sort of 6 month window before people start thinking about rotation, where
and challenger decks hit.
Yes, so you have this very brief window where cards become more expensive over the winter.
Yeah, you had like almost a 6 month period to buy $10 Assassin's trophies.
Yeah,
it's back up to 20 now.
Yeah, I feel a little bad about not having more of those. It was hard to say. I mean, Assassin's Trophy is obviously insane, but Abrupt Decay wasn't. Abrupt Decay didn't look like that. It didn't have that curve when it was in standard.
Abrupt Decay got reprinted.
Eventually, yeah, but not for a long time. Yeah, the first time it was reprinted was in Modern Masters 2017. The card was printed in 2013.
No, it had a promo before that.
A WMCQ promo?
Yep.
In 2018.
So. Was it that recent?
No, I think it was in like an event deck or a
I could have sworn the WMCQ
like
promo was in like 2015 or so, but
if only we had the internet, we could look this up.
MTG Stocks has a price for it starting in April 2018.
Interesting.
Long story short,
a
couple cards trending up this week. Murderous Rider is up a little bit. Mystic Sanctuary is up as we predicted. Realm Cloak Giant up quite a bit, and Oko.
It was 2016.
Up DJ. A lot.
Okay.
So
there was 3 years there.
Yep, some stuff we said to pick up on the cast. Some stuff we said maybe don't. Think we all slept on Oko.
I mean, that's fine though.
That's why we have pros come on the cast.
We knew.
Yeah, well,
we knew
I think
stupid.
we very lazily say never buy Planeswalkers, and we're right 90% of the time.
Yeah, that's fine.
We tell fucking people stupid when we're wrong.
But we're not even wrong because it was $30 last week, and it's like $32 now. The card is legit dumb, but if you want to buy Okos, buy Gilded Goose. It's that simple to me. Like if you think Oko is going to rise significantly from its price, it's almost always going to be played with Gilded Goose, and Gilded Goose is $6. So like, you're much more likely to make money on Gilded Gooses going from 6 to 10 than you are on Okos going from 30 to 35.
Even then, though, like you're paying 6 on Gilded Goose, and then when the card exists at 10, like you have like 2 weeks of it being at 10 with a buy list at 8 or 9, and then the rest of the time you get like 7s.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I'm not particularly. I'm more high on Gilded Goose than Oko, but I mean, you need Oko to go to like 50.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Yeah,
to be glad you paid 30. Yeah.
And you're putting so much more on the line.
I'm betting against that happening, but
yeah.
Something. Not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Get out of here.
All right. Anything else you guys want to touch on this week before we get out of here? All right. Well, there you go, everybody. Don't forget to check out the Patreon. I would like to embarrass myself at GP Oklahoma City. So we just need 39 more people to make it happen.
And that's people, 39
Please.
at any level you want. You don't have to buy in at 20 to get the handsome drinking glasses or the playmat. You can pay as little as 20 or 25 cents an episode to contribute to Corbin not stuffing his arteries full of hot sauce.
Yes, so there's a lot of things to keep track of. We have BSB perks like there are Eldraine variants. Let's put it that way. There's too many to keep track of at this point. It's fine. They'll all happen. Just support it.
All right.
You could either, like, on one hand we have the Brainstorm Brewery Discord channel, on the other there's a $450 Throne of Eldraine box. Which one do you really want?
$450 will get you a lot of Discord channel. You could spread the money around. You could give that money to other people to have them buy a new.
You could double
a new
our
membership.
our number of patrons for $450.
Yep.
As a matter of fact.
Yep. You could really mess us up. We're like, oh, we're good, and then 1 month later.
Yeah. All right, everybody. This is Brainstorm Brewery. Thank you for listening. Check out our sponsor channel, Fireball, and we'll see you next week.